buy the Pepsi or Mountain Dew or 7-Up. I really do like them.
I say if you're gonna drink soda, you might as well go all the way.
I like
this fake stuff.
It's not fake. It has
fake soda.
It has 30 calories in it, and I mean it has like 0 fat, 0 sodium, and I think it has like 9 grams of like total carbohydrates. And it's got like total sugars is like 5 grams.
This episode brought to you by Poppy Soda. Poppy, if you'd like to sponsor us, we'd really appreciate it. I'll say it tastes amazing.
Yes, Poppy.
I turn this around.
Poppy or PepsiCo, who just bought Poppy, if you would like to sponsor us,
you got it on?
Yeah. We would be more than happy to promote Poppy on the Tay and Tristan podcast.
I'll say it's the best thing I've ever drank.
I absolutely love it. I do. I didn't think that I would really like it, but then I was like, wow, when we first bought it, it was the smaller, like the can was half the size, right? Maybe, it was just half a can, 6 ounces maybe. And so then it was like, it was really good. It was only $1. And I was like, what is this? Poppy, I've never heard of it. And then, it was like, I was like, that's an interesting taste. But then I noticed I didn't feel bloated after I drank it. And it didn't add like I didn't gain a whole another 5 pounds after I drank it. Yeah. And,
does it have high fructose corn syrup? No, it doesn't. Oh,
I
forgot. I read the ingredients.
It does not
yesterday.
have any high fructose corn syrup in it or anything.
Yeah, that's why.
No,
it's got
a lot of organic ingredients in it.
Mostly
it's really good for you.
Natural ingredients.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And the orange flavor is my favorite. It tastes just like an orange crush soda, but it does not have all of the junk in it. I love it.
Yeah, great.
I do like it. It's good.
Grandma's not so much of a fan.
No, I don't like no.
I like it.
Stuff.
It's really good.
No, that Olipop wasn't no good.
Mm-hmm. So if they would like to sponsor us, we'd be more than happy to. I will genuinely promote Poppy on this podcast.
Yeah.
We would love sponsorships. We are looking for those. Mom's frowning like, what? It's great to get sponsored. You want people to sponsor your podcast if you can get them to do it.
Yeah, even if you hate the product. You just do it for the money.
Yeah, we would absolutely love that. That would be amazing. I seriously would want to promote. I don't care. I would promote the product. But I do like Poppy, yes. Yeah, yeah, it's really good.
Well, welcome to episode 47 of the Tay and Tristan Hour.
I hope everybody is having a wonderful day today.
It's a rainy day here today. I love rainy days.
I do in Florida. I think rainy days like in Missouri are worse than.
Why is that?
I don't know. Like I hated rainy days when we lived in Springfield. I did. It just seemed so depressing.
What's the difference?
I think it was the environment. I really do. I think it was the environment.
It was already depressing. Right?
Yeah, I do. I think it was already depressing, and I think it was just, I don't know. Like out here, it's maybe because it's tropical. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
And I think so.
What in the world is different?
That's what it is for me. I don't know what you guys think.
Maybe it is tropical for it.
It is for me.
I love rainy days no matter where it is.
No.
Makes you sleep, you sleepy when you're in bed at night.
Mm-hmm.
Like it soothes your nerves.
Oh yeah, I love it when it rains at nighttime when it's dark. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Those are the best nights of sleep ever.
Yeah, they are.
Calms your nerves.
Yeah. It's not fun to drive in. I had to drive in it all day.
Did you?
Rain.
Oh, yeah. That's right. You did drive at work. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I love it. I can curl up with my little blankie and my throw cover. And I don't care what kind of weather it is, season it is. I like if it's raining, I will grab a throw cover. I think I don't know what it is. It's just like
Well, you're just always cold. That's all that is. You just have low iron.
I don't though. I
That's all it
don't.
is.
I don't have low iron. I don't.
I don't know. You should get a second opinion.
I've had 3 or 4 opinions. And I don't have low iron. So I don't know what it is. No, I take a multivitamin every single day, and I take everything I'm supposed to take.
Yeah.
I should not. It's just how I guess my body is. All my labs are good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pretty healthy person
Mm-hmm.
for my age. So no, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm just weird. I'll say I'm weird. I'm unique. That's what it is.
Well, some people are just more cold-natured or hot-natured or whatever.
I think it's hot-natured.
Yeah.
Because I can withstand heat, but cold,
Yeah.
I hate to be cold. It takes me forever because I get cold to the bone, and it takes me forever to get warm. I can't stand it. Like I can stand heat. That's why I love Florida. I love living here. Summers, I love it. Yeah.
I don't. Not at night when I'm trying to sleep.
Okay.
Because it's harder to sleep when it's hot.
Well,
That's why I like it. I like it ice cold. Like that's why I love during the winter time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll even crack the window open when it's like 40 something degrees outside and
I know you will.
and it gets ice cold in the room. It's just so, and then you can get all comfortable under the covers.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
It's always cold back there when I go in there. You got the fan and
That's not
I
true.
know he does.
the floor fan going, the ceiling fan going.
That's not true.
Constantly.
Mike,
You do.
It's
That's not,
freezing in
but
there.
it's never freezing in there.
It
'cause-
is.
Well, it might have been during the winter because I might have had the
No,
window
now.
open. No, not now. My room is the hottest room in the house.
No, it ain't neither.
It is. It literally is.
Not all the time.
It literally is all the time.
It's hot in there. a lot.
Unless it's cold outside and I have the window open. Besides that, throughout all the rest of the year, you can literally feel the temperature change when you go into my room or leave it.
Yes.
You can.
I don't know.
It's like significant. It's like an 8-degree difference.
You always gotta have.
Yeah, it's
cold,
pretty-
you know.
It is hot in his room though. It's hot in your room a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Sometimes it's cold when I go in there.
Well, you're just cold all the time
Sometimes it's
too.
cold nature, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you are.
We're a warm-natured. It's hot-natured. Warm-natured. However they say it.
I don't know.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you're cold all the time, you're warm-natured,
Yeah.
and vice versa, because you can withstand warm temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's supposed to work, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess. Well.
yeah.
Cut it.
Well, speaking of nature, we mentioned last week that we were going to have a conversation about nature versus nurture, I guess, in the way someone grows up and how what contributes to people being who they are. And Grandma had an idea of, well, it's an interesting topic, the topic
Kids
of,
who killed
of children
children. Yeah.
who have killed people,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe
Yes.
what trying to figure out or understand why that kind of thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some people say it's hereditary, but I don't know. And then a lot of parents, they wonder, like, why is my child like that? Ain't nobody in my family, immediate family. And then they don't know, well, maybe it's somebody back,
Mm-hmm.
in their family they don't know about is back,
Like a murderous ancestor.
Yeah, or something.
Nah, it could have been.
well,
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. You don't know all your relatives or whatever. I don't think you do.
Well, no, of course not. But the thing is, like,
And some of them are born like that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And I don't know. I don't know what it is. A lot of kids, like as they grow up, they're like abused in school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like loners, more or less. The kids won't play with them. They laugh at them and stuff, and that bothers them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, they
Yeah.
don't know how to accept it,
Yeah.
I guess, you know.
Yeah.
So,
They feel alone.
yeah, they'll be
And
calling
then
them all kind of names and stuff, you know. And I guess that works on them, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, so it does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and they just, well, you know, whatever. I guess it just gets so bad that they just, you know, I don't know.
So this can be like maybe one reason why a child may do something like that is, like you say, they're alone, they're loners, they're getting
loners,
picked on
yeah.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then they make. So at first they don't want to be that way, like they don't want to be the odd person out, you know. But for whatever reason, they're pushed that way.
Yeah, they are.
And then I think a lot of kids will consciously step into wanting to be. They'll want to become the odd man out.
Yeah,
They'll want to
maybe.
become the outsider.
Well, a lot of times they'll try to get in with the other kids, you know, just to be around them and, you know, just, you know, enjoy each other, the kids, you know.
Yeah.
And the kids, the kids, they'll push them out. They'll say, you know, get away, you know, we don't want your so-and-so, this and that and the other. Kids can be really mean. And, you know, and it's, I don't know. You know, and so that has something to do with them, you know, and they get this something inside, you know.
But what I'm saying is that I think some of those kids, once they've been picked on or whatever for so long, that they'll want to be, like I said, they'll want to be the outcast.
Loners, yeah.
You know.
No, they don't want to take on that stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's more or less loners. They stay by themselves.
They'll start to believe that they're the outcast and that they're different from everybody, which is a part of psychopathy too. Is that you're different from everyone else.
Yeah, and they don't have to be, but they get that into
Or
their heads that they feel different.
You believe, but it's not
they
even that they
are,
feel
yeah.
that they'll start to believe that they're different
that
from
they are,
everyone
yeah.
else.
Yeah, that's true. And, you know, I don't know, because I was looking at TV, well, not really, I pulled it up on my phone, where this little 13-year-old boy killed a 5-year-old. I didn't read all of it, you know, but, you know, you figure, like, why did he do that? You know, he's not much older than that other kid.
Right.
You know, and do you think they know what they're really doing, or if they figure, you know, like, hey, what's it like to kill somebody? Well, no. I mean, some of them think that. I don't know, as they get older, I think it grows in them. You know, and some of them, they like, what?
How old was he?
13. And he killed this 5-year-old kid. I didn't read all of it, but, you know,
Yeah, I don't know. I think at the age of 13, you know what murder is.
yeah. And
Especially, you know, if it happened recently or within the last 5 years or 10 years. I mean, kids are more with video games, what they're exposed to.
Yeah.
This would go more to the nature argument, right? Because it can kind of relay more to the environment that people are, what people are exposed to, what kids are exposed to. I mean, he knows what murder is. Okay.
Sure.
He knows the concept of death at that age, unless they're extremely sheltered, which in that case you can make an argument, is it something that's hereditary? Is it something else that's psychological going on?
And, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know all of the specifics of that case, but I think at that age, usually kids know what they're doing at the age of 13. They know. I'm not sure if they're fully cognizant of how serious the consequences of their actions are.
Probably not.
At 13. because they can't rationalize it.
Yeah.
Their decision making at that stage.
Parents, they come from abuse from
Yeah.
both parents, the man and the woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they get abuse from the kids at school and all that. You know, it just works on them. You know, like, and they're taking all that frustration and viciousness out on somebody else, on other kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. You know, they can't take it out on their parents, so they take it out on, you know, a weaker person.
Yeah.
A weaker child. You know.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't even necessarily always have to be someone they think is.
Is this the kid that killed a 4-year-old? Is this who you're talking about?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. What was he for?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was 13. He killed a 4-year-old.
Yeah. Okay, 4. Okay.
I don't know if this is the same guy.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was 5, but yeah, 4. He's 13. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't read all of it, but that's what it. You know.
Yeah. He.
I don't know what they did to him, but.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I mean, he confessed to it.
Yeah.
So he told his mom that he killed the little boy.
Maybe it wasn't intentional, but maybe they had gotten into it, or you know, arguing or something, and he just wanted to shut him up. You know, like, hey, I'm gonna kill you. You know.
But the baby is 4. I mean, what 4? What? I don't. That's a difficult one because
you don't know.
They're saying like the kids. This 13-year-old's defense attorney argued that he suffers from a mental disease that could be characterized as a rage disorder.
Well, that's what I was just
and
saying.
Could not be held criminally responsible for the murder.
Yeah, they have all this rage and viciousness in them.
And that goes back to what you were saying earlier, that the jury had learned that the kid was relentlessly bullied, and he was held back in school. And so if a kid at that age is not really, so then it's like, what are the parents doing if you know that your child is going through this? I'm just saying, if you know that he's going through this, he's been bullied, has been held back, like, what support are the parents, like, what support is the school giving to the child? What support are the parents giving to the child to make sure that he's being lifted up, so that when they're talking about this rage disorder, okay, I don't know if I have found anything.
I don't think
that's in the DSM-5.
I don't think so.
That's like a clinical diagnosis. There could be. I don't know. I haven't. I've read pretty much through all of that, but I'm just saying, where's the support system for this? If this is an argument that somebody's going to have for a young child that kills, or a teenager that kills another young child, what does it say? Like, who failed this child? Like, nobody's taking responsibility.
They don't care. Some parents don't care. They see it, but they don't want to do anything about it. They don't care.
Yes.
They don't care. So they don't have any support there.
Right. So they
know it, but they're not going to do anything about it. Do you agree?
I think that does happen. Yeah, for sure. I don't think
they found him guilty of second-degree murder at 13.
Yeah.
They accepted the prosecutor's argument that this child, his last name is Smith, was not suffering from an extreme mental disorder. Because that's
he didn't have
the jury believed the prosecution's argument that he was not suffering from a mental disorder. Okay, because at 13 years old, like, you have some control, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you do, but you're a new person. Like, you haven't been on Earth that long.
I know.
Like, so you don't know how. You might not know, unless you've been taught to, how to regulate your emotions.
Yes.
And if
true.
it's true,
True.
like people say when they get angry, they see red.
Yes.
That
true.
that mindset is, or that state of mind is like
Very true.
is like a real thing.
Yes.
Whenever
it is.
you have
Yeah.
this big adrenaline dump and everything slows down, you get tunnel vision, and you're just full of like that's a real thing. I don't think it's impossible that there are people who are more vulnerable to enter that state of mind. I'm sure there's people out there who it's a lot easier for them to get into that state of mind, even if they might not want to at all,
Well,
but I think
don't
there's
know.
definitely people that are more vulnerable to that,
So this guy, this happened in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
He was in prison for 28 years. So he was released from prison in 2022. And he'll be on parole for the rest of his life. So
See,
he
a lot
was.
of it,
So he's
like
been institutionalized his whole life.
It's
Yeah.
from a lot of that grows. They do it. It's like they grow with it. They can grow up killing,
Mm-hmm.
being serial killers.
Yeah.
It just starts from young, and keeps on.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't know. Some of them know how to stop.
Yeah.
Not that they don't want to. Maybe they don't know how. So it continues on up into adulthood.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree. I agree. I think that it, I absolutely agree with that. I think they do start at a young age. Most serial killers do. And it starts from some point of not being accepted, some form of bullying, I do believe in rage. I'm not saying that there's not rage or that anger is not
anger. Yeah.
like a primary emotion, because people don't know how to regulate other emotions. They don't know how to regulate feelings of insecurity. They don't know how to regulate feelings of frustration. Frustration's different than anger.
Well, they don't know how.
They don't know how to regulate
They don't know how to
embarrassment and, things like that. Sadness,
They don't know how to control it.
guilt, or shame. They don't know how. Yeah, they don't know. Well, they don't.
But you
know how to identify what the
Yeah, but
emotion
you-
is
But you
either.
you could ask the question: is that nature or nurture? The fact that they don't know how to regulate their emotions, because obviously, as a younger
Let
person,
it get out of bounds.
in general,
Okay.
as you get older, you learn you grow as a person and you learn how to regulate your emotions, right? But I think there's kids that know how to do it better because they've been taught to, or it's been like something that's, for some kids, it's been instilled in them since they were young.
Well, I don't know.
I think
So
they like been abused and stuff a lot, and they take their anger out on somebody else. It can be somebody their age, younger, or or older. I don't know.
but referring to nature,
Well,
just
okay.
kind of like the psychological piece of it, right? This just what I'm looking up. So it refers to our characteristics and behavior of the person. And a lot of that is based or influenced based off of our behaviors and personality developed due to the influence of your genes. So in other words, you're born with certain predispositions
Mm-hmm.
to act in certain ways as you grow and develop different mental health conditions. So that's the same thing with somebody who, if there is schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or any other mental health condition you could have if it's in the family, you're going to have a genetic predisposition
Yeah.
to develop that. Schizophrenia is one of those mental health disorders that can skip like a generation, but it still could run in the family. So like it could be like, I could have it,
Mm-hmm.
but you may not have it, but maybe your child may have it. You know what I'm saying? Or like our grandparents could have it. We wouldn't have it, but maybe your child would have it. It could be something like that. But I mean, it's just, that's a genetic predisposition for something.
Yeah.
Maybe how certain maybe one family can handle members of family can handle certain emotions in a healthier way than maybe another family. They don't know how to handle anything. They just shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something in the DNA, and we may not
We know
be
that.
able to understand or wrap our head around it. Yeah.
I know, but some of them, they're not looking at that. They're just
They don't.
like, why is this child killing?
But it could be a
No.
genetic factor.
I ain't talking about no genetic stuff. I'm talking about just in their mind. What does it, the feelings they have inside that makes them do that?
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything.
I have an example of
Mm-hmm.
a case, I think from like 2004, 2006 or something. You might have heard about it. The Scream Killers.
Mm-hmm.
They were these kids that
Yeah.
this group of friends, they decided that they were gonna kill this girl. Because this girl, they're like in like 8th grade or something, maybe freshman in high school. And this girl was like house sitting for some family, and these boys that they were friends with this girl, but they decided like and they're like super into horror movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're gonna kill this girl. Like we want to see what it feels like to kill someone. And they they documented the whole thing. Like it's like it was like entertainment for them.
Yeah, premeditated. That's what, they didn't care. They just like picked her out. They don't have to like choose like who we gonna do. They see somebody, they pick them out. That's who they kill.
Yeah, but there was something in them that wanted to see what it felt like, how it felt to take someone's life.
That's what I was saying
Right.
first.
I feel like in that particular scenario, I think that was more, I don't want to say nurture necessarily, but I think they were influenced by
A movie.
yeah, they were influenced by
Absolutely.
by
Absolutely.
media, by
Yes.
I don't know.
That is a nurture thing.
I think
That is based off of their environment. That's not something where they have a genetic predisposition to be a murderer. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like a mental health. It could be a mental disorder, but I think they're influenced by things in the media. It also can go back to where I'll talk about the difference between sociopaths and psychopaths. But it also could just be, there's a reason why people do it, right? So this is where that is more of a nurture thing, right? Because that's about outside influences that sway and shape a person's behavior. So that could, and there's other things that influence it too. So somebody's socioeconomic status influences that, parental involvement, the family makeup, we are influenced by the people we surround ourselves with, the environments that we're raised in, and what we allow into, what we see, what we listen to, everything.
Yeah.
What we watch. That is all a part of nurture.
Yeah.
Right? So you talk about these Scream killings. Yeah. They're basing that off of a film that they've watched.
Yeah.
It's not that, it's true. I mean, people could watch Friday the 13th and want to go out in the woods and kill somebody. I mean, it's the same thing.
But the thing is, like, at the same time,
We talking about young kids.
at the same time, most
We're
of
talking
these,
about people killing too. It's just,
most people that watched the first Scream movie or whatever probably didn't want to go and kill someone afterwards.
No, they
what I mean?
didn't. No.
So there is something there mentally
Yes.
that
Well, of
that gives them that desire.
Well, of course
And I
they-
don't think I don't think they were psychopaths, because they felt they were like regretful of it afterwards, or they seemed to be, at least. You know what I mean? Like, and they weren't like reveling in it.
They didn't have any remorse. In other words,
Well, no, I think they did have
Some
remorse.
people don't. They don't have remorse.
I mean, those in that particular case, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, because they wanted
It's all kind of different things, that
they wanted to see
What it felt like.
what it felt like.
To take a life.
Well, that's what I was saying at first. Yeah.
And maybe you could say that someone who's a psychopath doesn't feel things.
They don't.
But doing something like that is like, it's probably the most intense feeling. One of the most intense feelings you'll ever have as a human being is taking someone's life.
I don't know why they would do it, but in their mind they do it there because they're mental. You know.
Well,
So I don't know how to say it. You know, I don't know. Actually.
well, they do it because, well, yeah, I mean, they do it because there's something, of course,
Something
wrong.
with them mentally.
Yes,
You know?
but they could have. There's just something that's not wired right. Like
No, it's not.
there's because nobody. I mean, a lot of people can go, like you said, a lot of people can go and watch a scary movie and they don't want to go out and they don't want to go kill somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to know what it feels like to go take somebody's life.
Yeah.
You know, people think about the outcome and the consequences of if they have to kill somebody. Now, you know, are there situations where people are like, if somebody comes into my house, like I can shudder at the thought of if somebody breaks into my house, you know, I have every right to defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I had self to ask myself the question, could I take somebody's
Well,
life?
that's different.
Yeah, in the moment,
It's a whole different
probably
thing.
could, because it's going to be my life or theirs. They're going to take my life, so I
That's
have to
a whole
protect that.
different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's still but I don't like want to. I don't think about, I wonder like what it would feel like to do that and then plot and plan. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So for somebody for their mind to go there, that's where it's like that fine line where it kind of moves out of the nurture
Mm-hmm.
piece of it and goes a little bit more to nature, because there's something there's something else
Yeah.
there. It's not, I'm moving past being influenced by something I watch or see, and there's a mental health thing genetically. There's something else going on.
Yeah.
It's a little bit deeper than that.
Well, we know that. You
Yeah,
know,
I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
it's
some of them, they just see a person, you know, like you said, it's in their head, in their mind.
yes. Yeah.
And
do.
they can see somebody they have never seen or met.
Mm-hmm.
And that person, if that gets in their head, I'm going to kill that person. I'm
But
going to do something. to
Do you
that
not
person,
think that
you
it's
know?
possible in that particular case that, I mean, I guess you could argue anyone that wants to kill someone for no reason has some sort of
Well, they're
mental thing
mental,
going on.
yeah.
But at the same time, when you're a kid or a teenager,
Yeah. It's
again, your brain isn't fully formed. You're not,
different, yeah.
and you're not. Your decision making is
It's not really plain. It's, you know, I know.
it's not. You're not done cooking as a person,
Right. You're not.
and you're.
I love the way you say that. You're not done cooking.
Yeah, you're not.
Yeah,
You're still
developing.
boiling.
When you're a teenager, you're still cooking. Like
Right,
you're not.
Your mind isn't developing. Like,
Yeah.
You know, you're. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think maybe it's possible that those kids maybe didn't have a mental disorder, but they just didn't realize the consequences of their act, or they didn't realize how serious it is,
But if you
and
ain't
how
got-
serious taking a life
Yeah,
is.
But if it isn't, something isn't wrong with you mentally, you're not even gonna be thinking about something like that.
I
Has to
guess
be
so,
something
but I
wrong
feel.
mentally.
But I
with
feel like
you,
in that
you know?
particular case, those kids almost felt like it was a game.
Yeah.
You know what I
They
mean?
they were mental. Something was wrong with them. They were sick some way. And
So-
they thought it was funny. That's what I'm saying. You have to be something psychotic or something like that, you know, before you can do something like that.
I don't think that's
So-
necessarily true, though.
Well, I do, because you wouldn't normally go out and just kill. I don't care if you're thinking about it. You can think about anything, but you're not going to do it. You know?
Yeah.
And then a person like that is mental. You know, they can just go off just like that and do something. You know,
Yeah, they can.
just snap.
Yeah. Of
But
course.
then that leads us into like, are they sociopaths or are they psychopaths?
I think a psychopath myself, because psychopaths will do anything They don't care. They have no feelings about it. They don't care. They don't care what they do to anybody or whatever. They don't care.
No, they don't. But those are traits that are very similar to sociopaths as well. So they're very, very similar, and you can use both of the terms, as they say, interchangeably, right? So you can say they both disregard laws and social norms. They don't care. They don't care about your rights. They don't feel remorse or guilt. And they don't care what they do. It's just like the Scream murders. They don't care. They don't care what they were doing to this girl. They had none of them thought to just stop and say, maybe we shouldn't do this. Like,
don't care.
there's no forethought. It's just like, we're going to go do this. It's going to be fun. It's an adrenaline rush.
That's what they do,
And they display the violent and aggressive behavior.
And it's really violent. A lot of them.
Extremely.
It's horrifying.
Well, it's meant to.
It scares you half to death. A lot of it does. But to them, it gives them a rush, I would say. Some of them.
Oh, no, every one of them it does.
Yeah.
That's why they do it.
Rush, So, killing somebody.
But it's not even that. I think it's that, but it's a power and control.
Power control, yeah.
It's a power and control thing.
Yes.
And so the difference with sociopaths is that they tend to be nervous and easily agitated. They are volatile, and it goes to your point, Mom, and they're prone to emotional outbursts, including fits of rage. Yeah. So when we go back to the 13-year-old that murdered the 4-year-old baby. So when the defense attorney was talking about the fact that this kid had like fits of rage, they were basically categorizing him as he's a sociopath, but he's not a psychopath. So a famous psychopath would be like Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, those are your famous psychopaths, serial killers, Ted Bundy's probably the most famous psychopath. Okay.
That's all they think about. Nothing else.
Psychopaths are cool, calm, collected.
You don't know.
A psychopath will very easily could be your professor. Yeah. He could be a lawyer. He could be a doctor. They are extremely intelligent, very, very charming, and could be your neighbor next door, and you wouldn't know that they are cuckoo crazy.
Yeah, but I don't.
You wouldn't know it. That's a psychopath.
Yeah.
They have psychopathic tendencies, but they don't have any remorse, no guilt, no feelings, nothing. But they can be extremely charming to you.
Yeah.
They can be. And they're, like it says, they are more likely than our psychopaths to be uneducated and live on the fringes of society. Those are sociopaths.
Yeah.
Sociopaths are not educated. They're less likely to be educated. They're kind of off the rocker a little bit. You're able to see it. Psychopaths hide it.
Yeah, they're more hotheads.
Yes, psychopaths hide it.
Are.
Yes. Yeah. And so a sociopath, you're going to they're going to be, what are they? There's a word, and I want to be politically correct. But yeah, they're the hothead, but like they're it's kind of like when people are manic.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to be either when people are really manic, they're not like a manic depressive, but when they're extremely hyper and
reactive,
very reactive.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're, like it says, they're on the fringes of society. When you see somebody, like when I've seen people, and it is a mental health condition, but you'll see people kind of on the street. If I've seen people that have been homeless, or if you just see somebody having like a mental break, they could have sociopathic tendencies, because you see them just kind of walking around, but they're raging.
Yeah.
You'll see them raging and yelling, I mean, they probably have some sociopathic tendencies or just unmedicated mental health. You don't know which one.
Yeah.
But that kind of is what that type of like emotional outburst reminds me of. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this. Do you think that psychopaths are bad people?
I don't know.
Do I think psychopaths are bad people? Do you think psychopaths are bad people? I'm going to boomerang that right back to you, because if I told you, so do you think Ted Bundy was a bad person?
Well, Ted Bundy was a serial killer. He
was a psychopath.
He happened to be a psychopath too, but he was a serial killer. But I think there are a lot of psychopaths that don't kill people.
You're right.
And I think that
You're right.
it's not their fault that they're psychopaths. I mean, do you develop psychopathy through your environment? I don't think so. I think that it's not their fault. You know?
So they become psychopaths through nature.
Yeah, I think so.
So there's a genetic predisposition for it.
I don't think psychopathy is or psychopathy, whatever is
psychopathy is how I pronounce it.
I don't.
Right, Mama?
Yeah. Okay. I guess. Go ahead.
I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think it's their fault that they're psychopaths. I think they've gotten a bad rap. I think they've gotten a bad rap because of
Ted Bundy and
yeah, I'm saying because like there's a lot of serial killers that were clinically psychopaths. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think,
but they can't help it. Like, what can you do? What can you do?
You can't do anything, because I agree with you. I think that a lot of them are they have had a predisposition for it. Like it is something that they are born with. I don't believe it is something that they learn through influence, and it is something that they chemical imbalance. It is not something that they can change. It is not something that can be medicated. Nothing. It is in their DNA, and it is their personality, because it is an antisocial personality
they can't
disorder.
help that they don't feel things.
They can't.
All they can do is pretend to feel things.
Right.
That's what psychopaths do. Is they'll study people's behaviors. They'll study people's facial expressions, and they'll practice them.
To try to fit in.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people like that are normal and that aren't serial killers.
Yeah.
That they're doing their best to fit in, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I like your point of view on that. Yeah. I don't think that they're bad people. I do, but they, can do they know that they're psychopaths is the question.
A lot of them don't know it.
I think most of them do, yeah.
You do?
Do you believe that?
I don't think that they really know that they are.
I think that most of them do know.
Because what they think they're doing right. Or what they're doing. They think it's not wrong.
But psychopaths are unable to form emotional attachments because they don't know how. Like you said, they have to study people and how to feel emotions.
Yeah.
They're aggressive. They can be predatory in their nature. They view others as objects for their amusement.
Yeah.
They lack empathy. They often have a disarming or even charming personality. So they are charming and they know how to play people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they don't know how to. Because they don't know how to feel. So they can't have any sort of healthy and genuine relationships with people or friendships, because they don't know how to do that. But they know how to be charming to get what they want from people. So everything is a means to an end for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll use people for their amusement to get what they want, to feed whatever is within them, but it's nothing that's genuine. So that's the thing. So like a psychopath, they know how to kind of use and manipulate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to charm you, to get what they want. Everything is a means to an end for them. Whereas sociopaths know how to have relationships with you, and they can emotionally attach to people. But they, you know,
Yeah.
But you
they
don't.
just
Do you not think that if you, as a psychopath, pretend long enough to be emotionally attached to someone, that it's possible that it could become real at some point?
No, I don't think
Now-
they ever can.
I don't know. It says they do manipulate. You were right, Tristan. They're manipulative. They can easily gain people's trust. They learn to mimic emotions. Despite their inability to feel them, and they can appear normal. But they can function in society.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can. I don't know if they have the capacity to have a true emotion and have like a and have a true like genuine healthy marriage and relationship where it becomes real for them. They don't hold the capacity to do that. That's the same thing as, I mean, psychopaths are they're very they're right up there with narcissists. I mean, you just can't. They can do everything and make it look and they can gain your trust. They're charming, but they can't cross that barrier to having true feeling and changing who they really are.
Yeah. You know, earlier I said that that you're born with psychopathy, or that doesn't develop later in life. I don't know if that's actually true.
Okay.
Because I was just thinking, I know this is okay. It's a TV show. There's a TV show called Dexter, and it's about
I know Dexter.
It's about this guy who is a blood spatter expert. He works at the police department as a blood spatter expert, and he's and he kills people. He kills like bad people, like people that have done like he kills people who've killed other people. But he's a psychopath, a self-proclaimed psychopath. He knows he's a psychopath. But there's a point in the show where he remembers something that was extremely traumatic that happened to him as a child. And then, again, this is just a TV show. I don't know if this can even happen. But at that point, he starts to... He starts to sort of be able to form, because like he has a girlfriend or whatever, and she has kids, and like, you know, at first he's just doing it to like keep up appearances or whatever. But I think after that point where he sort of remembered that trauma that he experienced, he started to actually feel like a genuine connection to her and the kids. So I wonder if maybe psychopathy could be developed through some horrific trauma, and that maybe it's just a response, like a trauma response to shut your emotions off, so that like it's like almost like your brain trying to protect you.
It absolutely could be, yeah. I mean, I'm not ruling that out. It absolutely could trigger something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it could, but it absolutely could, yes. I'm not saying absolutely possible.
Again, that's just a TV show. I don't know if that's actually.
But I mean,
how it works.
that could possibly.
I'm saying, but it makes sense that like if you go, because the thing, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, the show's been out since 2006. So
I've seen, I've seen Dexter,
but
you would probably like it, Mom.
But basically, what happened to him as a
would like it.
What happened to him as a child is that him and his brother were like left in this storage container, and like somebody murdered his mom like in this storage container and left the kids in there, and there's just blood everywhere, they're just like drowning in blood in this storage container for like days. And then after that he's separated from his brother, and he didn't even know he had a brother as an adult until I don't want to have to explain the whole plot, but basically, his brother was also a serial killer.
Yeah, I know. I've seen Dexter.
But he wasn't. He was killing like innocent people. He wasn't killing bad people. So, but again, I wonder if maybe it could be a trauma response to something horrific.
Yeah, it could be. It absolutely could be. I mean, it still falls in line with the nature piece of that too.
But I think that's more nurture. If something
But I don't know.
if something traumatic happens to you, and then as a
But I don't
result
know.
you become a psychopath.
I don't know if that could happen. It could. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if that could happen either.
Possibly. I don't know. If that happened truly, then yeah. I mean, it's going to be nurture, of course, because it's going to be of your environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could. I don't know. It could. But then could that? But then could you? I mean, that could just be some complex post-traumatic stress, that you have, and then you could possibly do some extensive trauma therapy to work through that. I don't know if it can make someone develop and become psychopathic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think you could have some tendencies, possibly, but I see it as something that could possibly be worked through. I don't know if you would actually become a psychopath because of it.
Yeah,
I think it's still, I'm leaning more towards possibly, but I'm still saying psychopathy is more of something that's just you're born with that.
Yeah.
It's not something, I think that what you're describing in him is just more, he's got some major PTSD and
and obviously that's a TV show.
Right, so, right. But I don't know, possibly, who knows? Anything's possible.
Real life stuff. I mean, that happens for real.
Yeah, possibly. I won't rule it out. I mean,
it does. It happens. It's come from real. People do all kinds of stuff that comes from real life. We don't know it, but this world is big. Mm-hmm. It's probably done all over the world.
Yeah,
we don't know about it. You know.
So there's something else. Since we were talking about child killers, one thing that's kind of not really talked about a lot is kids that live in the inner city that are in gangs. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these kids that are in these gangs have killed people.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you if you think that's more nature or nurture. Because, I mean, it happens all the time, and it's sort of become like normalized in that, in that culture. I mean, it's happened for a long time, ever since gangs started.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of times, if they are in a gang, I don't know. Because some of them don't want to do it. They're with kids, other kids, bad kids, and a lot of them talk the good ones, the better ones, in shit they're doing. Mm-hmm. But they don't do it. They like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I wasn't raised like that. So.
But do you think the kids that do it, is it more that it's something that's already in them?
Some of them raise stuff like that too.
Or it's just their environment?
I think it's their environment.
Some of them are raised.
I think it's their environment.
Yeah. It is.
So yeah.
I mean, I think majority it's their environment. It's not to say that there can't be some of them that are sociopathic. Mm-hmm. That because there could be there's a lot of kids that grow up in those environments that don't end up like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think there could be one or two that are kind of leading the charge on that, and they could have some sociopathic tendencies for sure.
Yeah.
And that could come from them experiencing their own trauma, because that's how people become sociopathic. It begins in their childhood, and they're usually experiencing they've gone through some sort of emotional trauma. And a lot of kids in those environments where there's a lot of gangs, there's poverty, there's stress, there's drugs. I mean, all of that is so much emotional trauma that's put, and they grow up in this, even though they're like, oh, it's normal and I've dealt with it. It doesn't mean that they're not experiencing trauma. Mm-hmm. So it's all that they know, and they don't know how to emotionally regulate that.
Yeah.
Even from a young age. So they kind of go with what they know, but they do, kind of become sociopaths, because they can still have emotional connection. Remember that. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that, and then maybe they engage in this behavior. They don't know any other way.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they pull the good kids,
Yeah.
the kids that are going to school, want to go to college, and, you know, all of these, and want to get out of that life. They'll sometimes bring them along with them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a cousin, it's a friend or whatever that they're really connected with. And maybe they don't want to see them leave them. You know, there's a lot of different scenarios. You just never know.
Yeah.
But they end up bringing them down with them. It's sad.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a nurture.
Yeah, I think
I think it's a nurture in that
think
situation.
In those situations, yeah, it's mostly. Do you remember this was a big story like back in the 90s of this, I don't remember the kid's name, but he was a 10-year-old kid who, like, these gang members like made him go kill it happened in Los Angeles. Like these,
When was that?
it was sometime in the 90s. It was a huge story.
Wow.
And these
Years.
gang members like told this kid to go kill somebody. He was like 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to kill someone. He did kill someone, and then he got killed. I have to find the name of this kid. It was a huge story in the 90s. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. I'm sure that I've heard of it. I'm pretty sure that I've heard of it, but not able to recall right now.
Oops.
So, but I'm sure.
It was like a huge thing. Shoot, I wish I could remember.
Maybe he wanted. Maybe he was in a big gang, and they said, "Well, you go kill somebody, and you can, you know, be in our clan or whatever."
Clan.
Well, not group of.
Well, that's what they used to call them, though.
Well, I mean,
That's like a
whatever you
50s,
want,
60s term.
Yeah, if that person, if they want to go run around with them, they say, well, you're going to have to kill somebody before we're going to let you be with us.
Yeah.
It
was a way of,
yeah.
That's kind of like an initiation thing that they always did, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So.
They always did that.
So
I'm not sure what that was, yeah.
Man, I wish I could remember. It was like a huge thing. It was a huge story. Yeah, I'm not gonna find it.
Hey, Trika.
Yeah, I call all kind of different stuff. Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. It's kind of funny.
Gangs
it's kind of
or whatever.
Gangs, clan, club,
whatever,
all kinds of different names.
Oh well, I'm not gonna find it, but yeah, I think in those situations, I think those are they can't. It's almost like they're, at least to them, it's like their environment requires that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
She wanted me to pick her up.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, baby.
A lot of times that goes on, and they wind up killing quite a few people,
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they're serial killers. They can kill like 100 people, And they'll go on, thing of it is, people like that, they'll go on killing as long as they're not caught.
Yeah.
They're not going to kill like 2 or 3 and then stop. They just keep on, killing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Drink it. So, you cannot, just.
But, I don't know, it's a different stuff. Different things can happen,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They do. That's for sure.
I think it's because but they have to be messed up mentally somewhere.
Yeah, I think
of course.
Heads,
I agree.
Because you can't just kill. Somebody can't say, well, you kill somebody or you just going to kill somebody. There has to, like you said, have to be something wrong physically with you, mentally.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because you wouldn't want to go out and just say, well, I'm going to see who I can kill, Well, you're.
Well, no, unless maybe I had like
had a little something wrong with you.
You better not even said you had a thought.
No.
That, because people do that. Say, I'm going to have done this or that. And they say, well, how can you have done something so mean, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna beat somebody up, or a lot of them want to beat them half dead and stuff. I don't know, just you know. And you wonder, like, how can a person just hurt somebody or just kill them? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, you know, because they just wanted to. I don't know. You can't really. I can't even, you know, believe somebody would kill somebody and then just mangle them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really bad. You know, they don't just like, you know, kill somebody. They, you know, just take them apart. You know,
They sodomize.
sodomize them
The
and
body,
stuff, and
yeah.
you wonder like,
What?
how did they?
No,
how
not
did people do
sodomize.
that? Yeah, just, you know, cut them up.
What?
That's not sodomy.
What is sodomizing? What?
You don't know what that means?
Some people do sodomize the body. What do you
Well,
mean?
They kill. I mean, they cut
Yeah.
them up. They
That's dismembering.
dismembering.
Yeah.
Where did sodomy come from? That's crazy.
I don't know.
Because people will,
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
people
they do
do
that to
that.
victims. Yeah.
Yeah. Dahmer
and
did
you
that.
think, how can
Well, he
that-
did it before. He
yeah,
killed them.
horrible. You know, that's, you know, that.
You don't think people sodomize a body?
Of course, yeah, necrophiliacs. Yeah.
So why did you look at me like I was crazy?
No, because it just came out of my mind just wasn't there. I just
Catch up, man. Catch up, man. Because I watch a lot of true crime and stuff like
Yeah,
all the
I
time.
do.
I was watching that last night. It was crazy. I mean, I do. I'm a psychology. You know, that was what my degree was
You ain't
in.
gotta be go.
But I like to watch that stuff.
I
I'm
mean,
not
shit, you can
mental,
just
but I
watch.
just
That's
like
just
it.
normal. You think about that. That's just
Yeah.
in your head. You know.
Well, I always wondered why people do the
Yeah.
things that they do and murders.
That's
What
what I'm saying. You
what
don't
motivated
know.
them?
Yeah. What caused
Because I
them
think
to
it's
do it.
more than just somebody having a desire to want to kill. There's it goes
Something
deeper
wrong.
than that.
Something wrong. Yeah.
It's a lot
It
deeper
is.
than that.
Like,
And I think sometimes people are lazy in trying to figure out what's really going on
Mhm.
in their mind, and just say, oh, they're just crazy. Well, what does that mean?
yeah.
I mean, okay,
Crazy. can
they're
mean
crazy,
anything,
but
you know.
anybody, it's just, you know, what do you mean by that?
They're
That's a
just
blanket
crazy,
term.
Or they
you
can
know?
be insane, you know, mentally insane, demented. You know, I don't know.
But you say those
Insane,
words, but
yeah.
there's so much more meaning beneath
Well,
it,
of
though.
course,
Like what's
it
going on with them, like what we're
Yeah,
talking
they
about.
become
There's
insane. They're, you know, demented.
the
or-
reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
The
all.
reason why.
I think it's always at the end of the day, it's always something that's mental.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the question is whether they're just like that or
Right.
or something made them like that.
Made them like that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
and I
true.
think more times than not, something made them like
Something
that.
I
did.
think so. Yeah.
Something
you know.
did.
And it's
Yeah.
that I think so too. But it just, you know, it's important to recognize that there are more sociopaths than psychopaths. So like it's rare to have to have psychopaths than
Yeah.
So you're gonna run into more sociopaths in this world than psychopaths. So
Mhm.
just to be clear on that point. But yeah, there's, you know, it's rare to run into a lot of psychopaths. But
Yeah.
you know, we've had some famous ones. You're gonna run into more
Yeah.
sociopaths. But yeah,
Who's a
there's
famous?
not to
Who's a famous one?
I don't know.
a famous psychopath.
Yeah.
We already
Oh,
said
yeah,
this.
you already said them. Yeah.
Oh my lord! The most famous like psychopath, like a lot of psychopaths, like they're probably gonna end up being serial killers or some type of criminal.
Mm-hmm.
But more than likely. But I mean, the most famous ones were Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy and the BTK killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, those three are like the most
The
famous.
thing of it
ones
is,
that
some
they had.
people can be helped, and some people can't. That's just like Ted Bundy. You couldn't do nothing with him trying to give him
No, that dude escaped out of a window from the right under the security guard's nose from prison. That dude broke out of prison. He escaped. He was charming. He had a relationship with a woman for years. And Ted Bundy.
Oh,
He did. I mean, he was his own lawyer. He was cocky. He thought he could get away with it, and watched all the films and footage of him.
Yeah, we watched.
He is. I mean, he is probably one of the most studied serial killers and psychopaths in American history.
And apparently, he had a good childhood too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nature.
Yeah.
It's not an environment. He went to law school. He was going to be a lawyer and all that. Even the judge told him that it was a shame that he did the things that he did, because he would have loved to have had him in his court to argue cases in front of him. That's how talented this guy was. Like it said, psychopaths are extremely intelligent and educated, and they're charming, and they can have long-term relationships, and they can be in marriages and have kids and all of these things, and sometimes their partners won't even know that they're a psychopath. That's how they can be chameleons. But they can't, like I said, they cannot genuinely change the emotion. Like they can hide it and mimic it very, very well.
Yeah.
But they can't feel.
Yeah.
They can't.
And I just obviously it's not, being a psychopath obviously doesn't excuse murder, but
no, it doesn't.
At the same time, I just feel like it's not their fault. Like they can't do anything about it.
Right.
They
I
can't
get what you're saying.
They can't do anything with like once you're at that point, like there's like you can't really do anything to rewire your brain. Again, that does not excuse anyone to go and kill someone.
No.
But it can help you understand why, like, why, you know what I'm saying?
No. I get what you're saying. Like, it's almost kind of like you feel like, damn, well, it's almost kind of like it's the worst hell somebody can live in. Like, you can't feel emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that would be like, to not feel emotion or remorse or like regret, like how, and then try to mimic what other people feel, because you need to fit in. Yeah. But then there's another side of you though, of that is like, but they're charming. So where is that coming from? You know what I'm saying? Because they can manipulate.
Because they want things their way, and they feel
they
can do that.
Right. So nothing is genuine, and they don't have any remorse for the things that they do.
Because nothing matters to them.
Right.
Me.
That's the part where it almost is like I'm like I want to feel sorry for them, but I kind of can't feel sorry for them.
No, you can't.
It's hard to feel sorry for them in a way.
I wonder that,
you know?
like,
it's hard.
Like they don't feel anything, right?
Right.
But what is it that gives them the desire to hurt people?
Exactly.
Like they must feel.
They want things their way. They want.
It's a means to an end.
They must have, yes, but I'm saying like they must feel some sort of desire. If you know what I mean.
But sometimes I think that people can do things and they don't have to feel anything. It's like a task to them. It's like if people go into work and you do a job, you know you're getting paid.
I guess that's
true. It's a means to an end.
I guess it's just like soldiers.
Yes.
That are going to war. Their mission is to go in there and
do what you got to do.
Kill these 3 people.
Boom, you're out.
Yeah.
That's it. It is task oriented.
Yeah.
That's how they look at life. Mm-hmm. That's how they look at relationships. It is a give and take.
They do that.
That's how they do it. There's no love. There's no connection.
They want you to do what they do.
Yeah.
And they try to manipulate you into doing the same thing they do.
Yeah.
You know, no matter.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, then you can't get along with them.
Right. And this is why, and they're right along the lines with the narcissist. Mm-hmm. People who are narcissists, it's antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder. That's exactly what it is. And so you ever talk to somebody who's been in a relationship with somebody who is a psychopath or who is a narcissist? Those are the hardest relationships to either get out of or to kind of recover from, because the individual that they're trying to get away from, the psychopath or the narcissist, is going to manipulate them and this person that was in the relationship with them loves them and cares about this person because they can feel. And I mean, they kind of, I mean, they're bad. I mean, the relationships they're hard to get away from, and they traumatize the people that they're in relationships with. Yeah, they do. Unless you're two psychopaths in a relationship, then I guess it works. But I don't know. It's just as crazy, you know.
In other words, they want to have power over you.
Power and control.
If they don't, if they can't get it, then there ain't no getting along with them.
No, you can't.
You know, they'll do anything to you.
They'll hurt you.
Their way.
Not physically hurt you, but they will. They'll break you down emotionally. To hurt you and make you feel like you're nothing. And I have watched videos like that are supposed to be like hearing, like where people will record them being in a relationship with a narcissist, and to hear them talking to them, it is the most vile things that they'll say to people, to break them down and pretend like they are the victims when they're not. Right. And it's to get what they want from that person. That is what it's like to be with a psychopath.
That's it.
It is. And if you try to leave them, you're the bad person. You're the bad guy. Why are you treating me like this? And then it keeps the other person, in this cycle,
It's yours the way I'm acting like this. It's not mine, it's yours. You're making me act like the way I'm acting.
Gaslighting.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We have somebody in the Oval Office right now who does that every day. So if anybody wants a perfect example,
Trump.
Watch the television every day or YouTube videos. Perfect example. Sitting in the Oval Office right now. I don't give a damn because it's true. It is true.
Anything.
He'll do whatever he wants to get it.
Anybody, don't care what it is, to get his way by doing what he wants.
And if people don't like what he says, he wants to get rid of it. That is what narcissists do. I think he's even admitted he's probably a narcissist. He doesn't care. That's what I'm saying. They have no remorse. They have no guilt. They don't care. They will trample on the rights of people.
Right.
He tramples on the rights of people who voted for him. He doesn't care. That's what I'm saying. That type of personality. Psychopathic narcissist.
But is that his fault?
Can look at it either way.
That is the case.
It's probably he is a narcissist, but I mean he's born that way. Yeah, he's born that way.
You just can't get it.
He's born that way.
Yeah, you have to be born that way.
But that's the thing. It's like he can't help that. But the people who voted for him could have helped themselves. That's the thing. But see, he manipulated
them into voting for him
and gained their trust.
Now he's treating them.
Now he's going to flip the script on them.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
All right, this isn't a political episode.
But I mean, I had to give that example because that's a perfect example of what I'm saying is if people don't get it. Because people will say, well, this is what people confuse what a psychopath is and what a sociopath is. And I'm glad mom wanted to have the discussion, because if people listen to this, hopefully it cleared up some it is, because people don't know the difference.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People see red flags, so they say they don't see them or want to ignore them. And they just ignore red flags. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them know it, and they're still going to ignore it.
Yeah.
Like Trump. They know all that stuff about him, but they wanted to believe, he's changed. He's going to be good. People like that don't change. They stay the same. Like I say, people rarely change. Rarely.
Mm-hmm. I do believe,
if at all.
I do believe people can change. I believe that people, I believe that people who are sociopathic and are psychopathic rarely change.
That's anybody. Like normal people the way they are. Just normal. They want.
But
They're
I
not going to
changed.
change. I don't care what they do. They do mean stuff and
I
talk
cha-
about, just do different crazy stuff. They ain't gonna change.
I changed.
Hmm?
I said I changed.
Well, you the same. Well, when you was born.
Yes,
You
I
know.
I am though. I
That's what
changed certain
I'm
behaviors.
talking
Yeah,
about saying, I'm just saying
I
that
know.
the
I was
people
giving a hard
don't
time.
really change their ways. Not really.
I was
If
giving
they
you a hard
want
time.
to, they can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
changed.
they don't.
I changed behaviors. Not people
We
can
all
change behaviors.
We do.
I think our personalities don't change too much, right? I think we learn from
Yeah.
life experiences, like we become wiser and
Wiser,
think
yeah.
more. But I think like our overall like personality, like
Doesn't
who
change.
like our genetic makeup does not change.
Mm-mm.
Like who we truly are. It doesn't really change over time. Like
I think unless you have
traumatic experience.
unless you have a very profound experience or a
Yeah.
very traumatic experience.
It will change you, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm the same person, like as
Yeah.
far as personality wise.
I know I'm the same person.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, I haven't changed. Well, we all changed from when we were younger. Let's put it like that, because
We grow up. Yeah,
We've grown from that.
Mm-hmm.
we just get older and a little
Wiser.
bit wiser. Well, I don't know. Some people get older and they don't get wiser,
Well,
so I don't know. That's
no,
not
that's
necessarily true.
Well, maybe they have a mental disorder.
No, sometimes they just don't. I don't know.
Yeah, they just don't want to change.
Just don't want to change,
That's it.
or they just I don't know what it is, but I think that sometimes people just I don't know. Sometimes they don't change. I don't
They
know.
want to.
You can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Any last thoughts for you, Tristan, on this topic?
Yeah.
Or any last thoughts, period?
I think we should talk more about mental disorders and stuff, and more murder, death, kill stuff. That's fun too.
Murder, Death, Kill.
Yeah.
What movie is that off of? Murder, Death. Oh, Demolition Man. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Murder, Death, Kill.
I've never seen that.
Oh my! You need to watch Demolition Man.
I've heard of it. Isn't Sylvester Stallone in it?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's like been
And
long,
Wesley
long
Snipes.
time
What?
since I've seen that.
Oh, if you want to talk more about mental health, you are barking right up my alley, honey, because I will have more and more and more and more stuff. That is right up my alley, because I love to talk about it.
I'm sure you will.
I know. He finally wants to talk about stuff I want to talk about. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I got a new topic for y'all. Y'all don't give me credit for anything.
Oh my goodness.
That's because Tristan's like, Mom, we'll go on here and talk about whatever. See, now.
Yeah, like whatever. What is whatever?
Because that's what the younger generation wants to do. So your grandmother wants to have a topic and you're like, okay, this is how I'm treated by my family.
goodness.
Okay. So anytime I want to do something structured, no, Mom, we don't need to do that. We can just go on there and talk about whatever. Now his grandmother wants to have a topic,
That's
and
not-
then he was like, "Okay, yes, Grandma, we can talk about that."
That's not true. If you had that idea, I would have said yes too. Because that's
would've.
I have
you know.
come up with ideas for topics, Tristan. Tristan's my producer. So I have come up with topics. And you're like, no, I don't want to talk about that. Nobody wants to listen to that. That's what exactly your words to me.
That's not true because
Oh my
that's
gosh.
not true because
I know.
Mom, have you heard him say that to me?
that's not no. But it depends. It's not like I've said
you're
that every
stuttering.
time.
You're stuttering.
No, I'm not.
You're
It's not like
stuttering.
I've said that every time. I don't say that most of the time, and most of the topics that you want to talk about, we talk about, and I don't have an issue with it. But something like that is something that's really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Is all.
Me too.
So I'm not interesting.
I'm not saying that at all.
No,
that's not what I said.
I just hit on to a topic that we all like to talk about.
And also
maybe some people
because I've been reading and really listening to a lot of like horror books where there's a lot of people getting killed. So it just goes with that, I guess.
Yeah. So you're maybe talking about something somebody wants to hear. Maybe they'll just learn something from it or something. They may.
I hope that they did.
You know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, he does turn down my ideas.
That's not
quite a
true.
bit. I just want to put that out there
That's
that
not
this is
true.
what my son / producer
You know,
does to me all the time. He's like, I'm producing this podcast.
Oh my God.
and I just sit here like, okay, son.
She's completely mischaracterizing me.
Yeah, he does.
Completely.
We can talk about anything, and Shantae like, oh yeah, I guess
He does. He does do that. He bosses me around.
That is
It's
not
ridiculous.
true. She's lying.
And see, you do that to me all the time. I'm an abused parent.
Oh my God.
I'm abused. This is ridiculous.
Let's wrap this up. This has been episode 47 of the Tay and Tristan Hour.
Mm-hmm.
We really appreciate you guys watching. We hope
you.
some of you psychopaths watched this. Tell us what you
Or
think.
are some of you sociopaths out there?
Tell us what you think of our synopsis of you.
Yeah, our narcissist, like Trump.
Oh my
He needs to watch something like this.
Don't say that. Then we'll have Secret Service here at our door.
Yeah.
No, they won't. But yeah, we appreciate it. Let us know what you guys think of this episode. Please drop a comment on our YouTube channel. Comment, like, subscribe, share our content on YouTube. We are on Instagram. It's Instagram. Instagram. I actually am posting content also on my personal Instagram page, which is Shantae B46. I kind of have to remember like what that is. And our podcast is being promoted through the Jacksonville community webpage on Instagram as well. So check that out. And we're also on Instagram under the Tay and Tristan _podcast.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Go give us a follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Check us out.
Yeah, we
So,
appreciate you guys watching.
Thank you.
See you next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Murder, death, kill.